Mass Effect Andromeda has been out for a few months now, and throughout that time, a lot of hate and general mockery of the game has flooded the internet. The question is, however, did Mass Effect Andromeda deserve all the hate that it got? I want to start off by saying that I believe Mass Effect Andromeda should not have released the way that it did. I also want to note that Mass Effect Andromeda still has issues. With that being said, I do believe that Andromeda should not have gotten as much hate as it did. When Mass Effect Andromeda first came out, people noticed issues with the game and made videos about it. Going to be honest, nothing really wrong there. What happened though is that those who have never played Mass Effect Andromeda would just make fun and jokes about the issues that are in the game. Now, that is where some of the issues start. Those who have never played the game, never had first-hand experience, or just never really cared about the Mass Effect series would talk about how this game is the worst thing to ever come out. Now, things like that spread to many places like YouTube, Metacritic, and Reddit. Soon, you would find many YouTubers who never played Mass Effect or really had an interest in it make fun of the game, as that was the big thing to do. People created videos and posts just because hating Mass Effect Andromeda was the thing that everyone was doing. That just spread the hate that the game was getting more and more, and soon the majority of people insulting the game were those who'd never played it. Thousands of YouTube videos with people just reposting the same GIFs and images over and over continued to spread the hate and turned the game into a joke of hating it. People would flock to the Mass Effect forums and insult anyone who liked the game and would just keep spouting that the game is trash without having any hands-on experience with it themselves. If you look at the Mass Effect forums now, you will see many discussions about people who enjoyed the game and are wondering why the game got the hate that it did. The majority of those who have spent time to play the game for more than an hour, which isn't much for an open world RPG game, say that they enjoyed the game. It deserves the criticism that it got, as there are numerous things that are wrong with the game and there is still some of that wrong with it. But it really did not deserve the amount of hate that it got. BioWare Montreal has spent a lot of time working on improving the game post-launch. If you look at what Mass Effect Andromeda is now compared to launch, a lot has improved. The animations have been improved, face models and textures are vastly better than what they were at launch. Many of the game-breaking bugs have been fixed, and there are many more patches on the way. Honestly, it is sad to have to see it improve this much after launch instead of seeing this when the game first came out, but the developers are still putting in so much time and effort to patch the game and to get it right by the fan standards. Now, personally, I think that Mass Effect Andromeda was a decent game. It is not my favorite one of the series, but it was a great game to play and I personally had a lot of fun playing it. I enjoyed the characters and the combat, and I thought the overall story, while it wasn't too big of a thing, I had fun with it. I thought that the planets were visually amazing and each felt unique in terms of how everything was set up, and driving around in the Nomad was a lot of fun. There were numerous things standing in the way of Andromeda, and if you read the Kotaku article, which I personally believe that all of you should, and a link for that will be in the description down below, you know what I'm talking about. The game is running on a new engine for the Mass Effect series, meaning all of the assets had to be remade. Not just that, but the Frostbite engine isn't really friendly with RPG games. The developers had to essentially break it down and remake a lot of it to work with Andromeda. This is also the first time that Mass Effect was created for the new consoles, which adds a lot of issues there as well. There's also the problem that this game had a smaller budget for it than what other open world RPG games usually have, and lastly, going back to the Kotaku article, the nightmare that was the development cycle for Andromeda, where the game that we got wasn't started until 18 months before release. By doing some quick math, that means that the teaser trailer that had Johnny Cash's Ghost Rider in the sky was made before the actual game itself was started. Now, should the project managers should have thought of solutions ahead of time? Yes, and I'm sure that they did, but sometimes issues get so strung up within development that it is extremely expensive and very difficult to fix, and I believe that's what happened with Andromeda. Many of the issues were so embedded into the development of the game that to fix them, hundreds upon hundreds of assets, man hours, and money would have essentially been scrapped to fix it. And that is not really something you can easily do in game development. Again, as I've said before, I believe that Andromeda deserves a great amount of the criticism that it got. But the amount of hate, I don't think Andromeda really deserved that. Developers will and have listened to the criticism that the game got, but it is very hard for them to find the real issues when people keep spamming things that they have no personal experience with. Those who just say the game is terrible because they think that's a fun thing to do, that's not really helping the developers find issues that need to be fixed. By doing that, they're just making it harder for those who have criticism and real issues with the game to have their voice heard and have their opinions known. Sadly, it is common for games to be released buggy. I'm not gonna justify that because that's not really what should be happening, and I'm not gonna go into much detail about this topic. But for those of you who are watching, you really should check out Extra Credits' video on the subject, and they even provided a video dedicated to Mass Effect Andromeda's animations. And there will be links to both of those in the description down below. So what's your opinion on this? Do you think Mass Effect Andromeda deserved all the hate that it got? Let us know in the comments down below, and while you are there, give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next video. If you are a fan of video game themed t-shirts, check out InsertCoinClothing.com, where you can get t-shirts themed around Mass Effect, Uncharted, Pokemon, and other games as well. To get 20% off on your order, use the promo code ICMEF20.